Welcome to Fostering Godlike Sexuality at Home. Our goal here is to empower parents to teach their children to see sex in a godlike way.
My name is Brigham Elton. I'm a pornography and sexual addiction counselor who've helped thousands of people overcome even the appeal of pornography. And I'm hoping to get out in front of this and try to help parents to set up their homes to chase godlike sexuality from the beginning.
My name's Andrea, a mother of 4, and I'm learning alongside all you listeners and excited to have these discussions. Thanks for joining us.
So last time when we kind of opened this puberty conversation, right, we talked about unpacking your own puberty experience, just so that you can be aware of that as you bring that to your children, right?
Absolutely.
And then today, I think our focus is to talk about this overview conversation, this opening the puberty door conversation.
Yeah. We want to help you guys feel comfortable understanding just all the different things you'd want to maybe cover at some point when you're teaching puberty. And then also kind of give you a little bit of a framework of what does this puberty conversation look like through the years of puberty going forward, right? Before they hit puberty, we want to be giving them a heads up, here's what's coming, right? And then as puberty sets in, we want to be having conversations a little bit more targeted to things that just general management of what's happening to their body.
Yeah.
Because I think that conversation too early is going to kind of go over their head.
Totally.
It's not as important,
right?
These
details of how to handle body odor or breasts or
hair,
any of those things, hair, erections, all of those things I think are going to be more important in the moment. Right. But this overview, I think, is still important to do.
Yeah.
Right? Why, how do you think an overview helps a child through puberty?
I think that it gives them their first taste of the emotional experience that they're going to have in puberty, right? If their first pass in puberty is just informational and factual and parents opening the door of that conversation, all of a sudden you enter into it and you can carry, hopefully, that tone.
Yeah. So it kind of helps them to emotionally almost accept it previous to
experiencing. Yeah, totally.
One thing that I see that the reason why I want to do this with my kids is it actually creates parents as a knowledgeable anchor point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if my daughters are my dad, because I only have daughters, right? But my dad knew this would happen to my body. He's a source I can go to. It validates me as a source. And I know what's going to happen to their body.
Right.
We can do, or if you don't know, you can do the research and find out.
Yeah.
And it gives you a great point to be hey, look, I told you, which does normalize things. Knowing that they're coming makes things so much easier.
Yeah. And creates you as the source of information, like you said. Yeah. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. And so those are some of the main reasons why I would be trying to have this conversation, right? And what age group would you kind of aim for?
Probably 9 to 10.
Okay.
Right? And if your kid's 11, 12, 13 and you haven't had an overview conversation, still have an overview conversation, right? Hey, this is probably already happening to your body, and we've noticed these changes already, but we want to just review all the aspects of the ways that your body is transitioning from child to adult.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think a lot of times the pattern I see from parents is just this let the school kind of do it.
Yeah.
Why do you think that becomes the pattern for parents?
Probably several reasons, but one maybe just they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right? The school's going to do it anyway, so then I don't really have to think too much about it.
Totally.
Right?
And there's so much on a parent's plate anyway.
Yeah, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
That sometimes it's kind of the last thing that we have structured, right? We have a lot of other things structured into what our kids need.
Yeah.
But this isn't really structured into our parenting practices.
Which is,
right?
I think that's cultural, and America cultural, that we just don't really talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think even if it's happened at school, this is still something that you can become more of a source for real body and sexual information.
Absolutely.
And puberty, just like the talk, is an easiest entrance point. Just teaching the facts of the body is the easiest place to enter if you're trying to become more of a sexual educator for your kids.
Yeah. Totally.
So if you were setting up this conversation in your home, what are some things that you would be trying to how would you set up the environment?
So I think the similar principles that we've talked about before, but are super awesome to just hit again, right? We want to decide, is this going to be group teaching? Is this going to be individual teaching, right? That probably depends on, where your other kids are at.
Totally.
And also like what pictures are we going to use? What information
Yeah.
are we going to use? But most important, like what are our anchors? Like
Yeah.
what is the overall message we want to send?
Totally.
What is the anchor that we're going to start with, use it to transition, and be able to wrap up with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're more in this stage than I am. Like, what did you and your partner decide an anchor before you had your guys' recent puberty
Yeah.
conversation?
Yeah. So one of the anchors that I think is just awesome is just like, I'm super excited that this is happening for your body, right?
Yeah.
Or like, it's amazing the way the body changes just the way that it needs to.
Yeah.
And I think just a similar tone can look like a lot of different verbiage, but what are some that are on your mind?
That celebratory tone is
Yeah.
awesome. You know, and like, honestly, that's what's on my mind more than anything is like, this is a moment like for you that you're changing in this great way. You know, like I think some cultures that I see like worldwide do a really good job of this, whether it's like a bar mitzvah, you
Yeah.
know, or like some tribal thing where you do this thing because you become an adult. Like I've even seen people that jump off freaking platforms, you know,
Right.
and like it's this like celebration of becoming like transferred to adulthood.
Yeah.
And I'm pumped for that for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that it's like, oh, this is uncomfortable. And now our like dad, daughter, or like mother, son relationship is weird because now you're an adult too, you know? But it's this like, oh yes, like this is so exciting. This moment is coming to you. And like, you're going to care less about my opinion. And I'm excited about that for you to like be deciding on your own,
Yeah.
you know, even though, you know, I understand that emotionally it's painful for parents,
Right.
you know, as much as puberty is emotionally hard for a kid,
Yeah.
like puberty is hard for parents.
It does. It changes the dynamic of a relationship.
Totally.
We kind of have to like let go of that childhood relationship, right?
Totally. And there's more hormones and emotion that go on in the home.
Yeah.
You know, and that can be really hard. And then mixed with that is more freedom, more like expected freedom
Yeah.
as this kid becomes independent.
Totally.
You know? And so I think even acknowledging that it's hard for you, but I'm like really excited about this.
Yeah.
And like I'm excited to learn together, I think is a great anchor point, right? And like no matter what you're saying, and if you get kind of the fumbles, you can come back to that anchor point.
Yep.
Like, I just want you to know, like, I'm so excited for you.
Mhm.
Like, I'm excited for this transition to become an adult. I'm excited for your body to become a creator. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited for these moments.
Yeah.
Right? Like, these are awesome, awesome things, you
Mhm.
know? And you get to find yourself. Like, that would also be an anchor point for me.
Oh, I love that.
Is this like, you've had this like structured self in our home, and now you get to more define yourself
Yeah.
externally.
Yeah. Find an identity.
Yeah.
Build an identity. Cool.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so that's kind of some anchor points that I'd be looking for. You know?
Awesome.
What we kind of hit the group thing, but like, why would you do a group, and why would you do an individually?
I think a group would be great for kids that are similar ages, like that are close together, or if you have an older kid that hasn't had an overview conversation and a younger kid who's ready for an overview conversation. I think group teaching can be helpful, especially with like follow-ups. If you're like, oh, hey, we want to have a follow-up, and this will actually probably go better if more than just me and dad are involved, right?
Totally.
Then those are great times to do group conversations
And I think
as well.
this overview, if you're going to be doing puberty group, like I think overview is the window to mainly do it, right? Like as you hit individually, like how to handle an erection or how to like manage menstruation or whatever, like I think most people would feel more comfortable individually.
Yeah.
You know, and so like this is kind of the chance to make it an open
Totally.
conversation.
Cool.
You know? Yeah.
So do you want to go through some of these points? We put together this document that should be helpful for parents that want a resource, you know, like our goal was to create something that is as like easily accessible as possible, right? Like not a huge book, but just general information, but all the information that you would need.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think these sheets are awesome. You know, and these sheets make me feel more confident, you know? And so like, this is something that like, as a parent, I think would be a great idea to like, obviously download off of the website, you know, and print and then put your notes on it. Like, okay, these are the things that like are going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
And like, though this isn't the place probably to be sharing like, oh, this was my experience with my first erection or my first ejaculation or my first menstruation. Sometimes even putting that on here can kind of put it away to the side, you know, and just like look at, okay, here are some male changes that I see are going to happen,
You know, these are the ones I want to hit in our overview, you know, and then maybe even put onto the thing like, okay, yeah, like these were some of my major experiences.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, like this can give you the content of an overview conversation.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say on that idea of just like sharing our own experiences, as you and I kind of prepped for this and discussed, we thought like those experiences, sharing what your experience was like in puberty can be awesome for kids and is probably best for like the next conversation, not the overview one.
Yeah.
But for like more of the targeted teaching of how to manage and what it's like for them as they are actually going through it.
Exactly. Especially like if you're going to talk about like, this was my experience with erections, you know, like if you were going to go like, honestly, like puberty was like stressful for me because I was kind of slow to start, but then as it started going, I started to feel more and more confident. Like that level of puberty sharing is awesome in this conversation.
Yeah. Like an overview of in general, this is how puberty was for me.
Yes. Yeah. But like specifically like, okay, this is how I remember my first experience with ejaculation.
Yeah.
This is not the time for that.
Yeah.
You know, like that can elicit fear more than actually provide this like, okay, it's normal, comfortable.
Yeah.
Like this is healthy.
I'm prepared. I feel like, I feel like I'm getting knowledge that I need. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Again, the goal with this conversation is to like give our kid this like idea that, hey, this is coming. It's just, it's a general roadmap, right? Like you look at a roadmap and it doesn't actually tell you every single thing that you see.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, here are some major points. Keep your eyes out for these major things that are coming, right? Which will, again, make someone feel like, okay, I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the goal.
Totally. And I think too, this overview conversation, if you hit it young enough, then I think it could be great to just overview, you know, the male or the female, and then like do a follow-up that hits the opposite gender, right? Yeah. And if they're a little bit older and can have like a longer conversation of overview, then overview both. Yeah. But ultimately, for sure, we want to be overviewing both.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think it's going to make people feel more comfortable because they're seeing their peers change.
Yeah.
You know? And like knowing that that's normal will make them feel more comfortable and confident, right?
Yeah.
Because like a lot of this is like, as we have knowledge, we feel comfort and confidence with our own selves and being around and interacting with others.
Totally. And it's also a good time to consider with your partner, like, are we good with like mom teaching male and dad teaching female? Again, that just kind of sets a good pattern for being able to speak to both.
Yeah. Because again, when you get to these later talks, you know, like this, like, okay, like how are you going to handle menstruation, you know, or how are you going to handle erection? Like my wife's going to have a really hard time teaching a son how to handle an erection.
Yeah.
You know, like that's going to be mainly same gender to same gender.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, this is the chance to be involved.
Totally.
You know? And so like, yeah, be involved at this stage where it's just an overview, like, hey, this is what's coming.
This is what's coming for you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I would really make an effort for this to be a shared and I would say opposite gender led conversation, even though I know that's a stretch for some dads, but I believe in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you look at this, like the female puberty overview, like, and if you were doing this with like, I don't know, a young, let's say like 9-10-year-old girl, like what are some of the things that you would try to hit?
Yeah. So we kind of have it outlined early, middle, late, like what's happening in order-ish. Yeah. And sometimes things shift, right? But the first thing are breast buds appearing, right? Like talking a little bit about like, hey, as your body changes into an adult, the first thing that you're going to notice is that your breasts will begin to develop. And it will start with like little breast buds under the nipples that will kind of make the nipples poke out more.
Yeah.
And it's normal for one side to start before the other. That's often the case. And that like the breasts will just continue developing throughout puberty.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Right. And like, that's just, like here it is. It's an overview, right? And then when you get there, you can teach about,
hey, remember?
Bras are an option, not wearing a bra is an option. Like, right? And you can get to all those details, but this is not the place.
This isn't the time for it,
right? We're just trying to say like, oh yeah, this exists. And I love this sheet that you've made. Like, honestly, this is a sheet that I would be handing to my child. As like all of us would have one and we would go over it together. Yeah. Right? And like, it's a great place and let them have questions where their questions come, you know? Nice. Okay. So after hitting breasts, like where would you go?
Yeah, I'm going to have you do it because we're going to do opposite gender teaching.
Totally.
Cool.
So like for me, I think the next one, right, like the body odor increases, like that's something I would mention honestly in passing. Like, yeah, like, okay, like after these breasts, like your breasts start to grow, right? Then like all of a sudden your body starts to like let go of new odors, right? And these odors are actually like ways that we like kind of communicate to each other, right? And it's like so normal, right? But like sometimes that can be a little uncomfortable, and so there's a lot of different ways that people handle that, whether it's like deodorant or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And then I would go into pubic hair pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think this is something that I think people would feel more discomfort and more obviously aware.
Yeah.
Right. Like a kid isn't going to be as aware
of their scent
because they're around it all the time, you know? And so like I would get to pubic hair pretty quickly.
Okay,
right?
cool.
And I would talk about that like, hey, like this is something that's going to start to grow. Like it's going to grow on your armpits. Your like leg hair can kind of change like its texture, right? And like maybe even its color, right? Like even like some of your facial hair can change its color, right? As well as your arms and like your pubic hair. Like all those things are going to start to like thicken, and it's a sign that your body is preparing to become a creator.
Ooh, love that.
And I would hit that again, just like this. Like this is a good, exciting thing.
Yeah.
Right. And then I would keep going. Like if you have any questions, boom. Right.
Great.
And like honestly, I'd say this. Do I have any questions? But honestly, I'd maybe even set the standard from the beginning. Like, look, like I just want to like make sure you're good, and so like I'm just looking for a head nod after each one. So like let's hit each one, and just a head nod is good.
Yeah.
You know.
Cool.
This can be a lot for a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
You know? And so like I would mainly just focus on the bold breasts appear, body odor, pubic hair, growth spurt, your hips widen. Like I would almost just like read that list
first.
And then maybe that's it for my 9-year-old conversation. You know? Maybe a little bit in the early, like maybe I do hit a little pubic hair and breast buds, like a little heavier, you know?
Yeah.
But like mainly it's just like, here's your first 2 turns, here's the rest of the roadmap. Right?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be going through all the detail on the right. Now, I do like having it there.
Yeah.
Because my scientific first daughter is going to later want to read it.
Totally.
You know? But like my second daughter, I don't think would be like, oh, okay.
Whatever. Yeah.
Right? And like that's okay.
Yes.
Like I want that to be there if they choose it, but I wouldn't be heavily hitting
all the information on the right.
Yeah, the right side.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Like first 2 turns, and then here's the rest of the roadmap.
Yeah.
That is a great way to do like really early puberty teaching, I think. And that's really why we kind of put it in this form where you can just go through like, here's all of the things. Here's where you can see from now to adulthood how it's going to happen, right? And then, like when they have questions, this should hopefully give you something that gives you more information, right? Or for them to read. The things that matter to them, the things that they're most curious about without having to go through all of it.
Totally. One thing I would like to warn parents on, if you hand a kid a paper, that's got a piece of their attention. And so as you watch them go into the paper, like, just let them go. Like as they start to look at like, oh, really? Like maybe they're interested in hips widen for some reason, right? And they read that, just like whatever they're interested in.
Sit back and let them read it. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Like I would be looking for them to look up at me before I kind of move from one place to another. Yeah,
that's good because as parents, like again, we're going to be wanting to get through it, right? But I think you do such a good job of that, recognizing like they are learning, and the fact that they're directing their learning is even better than me directing it, really, because I'm sitting here as a guide and a support to kind of move it along when they're looking for more.
Coming out of this conversation, there's like a principle I want to hit heavily one more time. It's just this like 1 or 2 turns. Like, let's hit the first couple things a little heavier, and then just kind of like, and this. And there's like, these things are coming, but like, these are what matter now, you know? And then as my kids hit different stages, it's like, hey, as the next year when I'm like, hey, remember we talked about puberty? Like, I just wanted to like hit our sheet again and give you a new one, right? Because who knows what happened to the last one. Here's this new one. Let's just like talk about where you are now. What's the next 2 turns? And this is what's coming. Yeah.
So maybe they've had like breast buds start, pubic hairs coming, and now you're going to be like, hey, next you're going to probably notice a growth spurt and your hips widen, and that's all kind of preparing you for menstruation.
Yeah.
Vaginal discharge. Those might be your next few steps, and then you're done, right?
Yep. And like maybe you hit the next 2 a little heavier, and then you like just kind of trail off this. These are the trips that are coming, and you're going to arrive here, right? Yeah. And you're going to arrive with your body as an adult and a creator.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this idea of like 2 turns and then the rest of the roadmap for teaching a woman about her changing body, a girl about her changing body. What does it look like then to have this same overview, but for giving the male, a boy, information about his female peers' puberty?
Totally. Again, it's this like 2 turns in the whatever. Like but the 2 turns are so light.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, and I would mainly be hitting like, this is what you can expect from girls your age. Like, this is what's happening, you know? And like, because mainly I want the boys to catch their overview first, right? And feel comfortable with their bodies first. Because if they don't feel comfortable with their bodies, they're not going to feel comfortable with the female body.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so like, this would be secondary to their overview, but secondary to their overview, I'd be like, okay, like, for girls your age, like this is kind of what's coming for them, right? Like their breasts are going to start to like bud, and like some girls will start wearing bras, some won't, right? And then like they're going to start growing pubic hair as well, right? And that would probably be it. Like that, like I don't even know if I would really hit like this is what else is coming. Like each time I hit them, I'd be giving them the next like 2 to 3 things that I think are happening
with their peers
in their peer group, right? Because especially boys, they're a little less aware, right?
Yeah.
But one that they're mainly aware of is a bra.
That's
right?
true.
It's like bras showing up. And so like I would want them to know why that's happening. And it's a sign that this is happening. And for girls, it typically happens earlier. And so like
earlier than what's happening for boys. Yeah.
Yes. And so like I think that can be a little timestamp for them. It's like, oh, my friends that are girls my age started.
Yeah.
Now we're coming.
Yeah.
Boys are coming next, which can give them this like look, like I want them to look for the turn, right?
Yeah.
And so like just this, oh, hey, look for this. This is a sign for that.
I think that's a really cool principle, this idea of like look for the turn, because again, our like sexual culture is very much avoid. Oh, what's happening?
Yeah.
But if we can teach this in a way that's giving them, that's helping them feel empowered to actually look for what's coming next, pay attention to it, then we're setting up this like pattern of we're not avoiding it, we're not doing it because we have to, but we're excited to, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Exactly. And then that makes it feel more normal when it comes, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, look forward to this. It's coming, right?
Oh,
and
there
like,
it is.
Yeah. And the ways that I would do a look forward is like, for boys, I'd be like, okay, see this happening to the girls first.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'd be like, okay, like some of your older friends, like it happened to them, or your brother, or like I'd be trying to use their environment to help them see that like, hey, these are signs it's coming for you. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So as we talk about boys a little bit, like let's go back and try to talk about like an overview for a boy.
Okay.
Right. So like as a mom, maybe you're overviewing like, hey, these are the first 2 steps and kind of what's coming after that.
Yeah.
For a boy, like what are some things that you would hit if you were talking to like a young 9, 10-year-old boy?
Sure. So I'm just kind of referencing this male puberty overview chart here. And the things that we've hit are like, hey, the first sign is that like testicles start to get bigger. The scrotum changes texture, and like the penis begins to grow. And like those things continue to change throughout all of puberty. But that would be like a first sign. And then you'll probably start to notice pubic hair or armpit hair come along as well. So those would be probably our first 2 turns, right?
Yeah. And that like one sentence you just gave is a phenomenal like, hey, this is what's coming. And it's just like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
You know?
And then like, again, this was the hardest part as parents is like pulling in that anchor. And this is a sign that your body is preparing to become an adult, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You are going to be an amazing man. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Like, I love the creator thing too. Like you're preparing to be a creator, you know, like your body's becoming more godlike, because it's not like God is prepubescent.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like God is post-pubescent, you know? And like, this is a sign of you growing to become
towards
that way.
That. Yeah.
You know? And I think that that's an awesome thing to celebrate and be grateful for, you know, that like, yeah, we had this awesome childhood, you know, there was such an awesome time to connect and feel safe and get comfortable in this body and world, you know, but now your body is going to change, and it's going to change the way you see yourself and the world, you know, and like, this is an awesome transition to help you become more adult, more godlike, and a creator.
Totally.
Right? And I think you want to like emphasize that anchor over these steps.
Yeah.
You know?
Because they're going to have a paper with these steps on them, right? We're going to pass
Totally.
them this information. They're going to review it when they're interested and ready
Yeah.
to learn more.
And you want to attach the emotion to it. You know? Because, like, next time they read this paper, they're going to read it and they're like, oh my God, like, hey, these are signs of me becoming an adult, like dad, like God, like whatever.
And at least I know mom and dad are excited about that.
Yeah.
And then they get to choose and form their own feelings, right?
Totally. And that's, again, one of the advantages of starting young is that you have a little more sway on that emotional landing point.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Cool.
And then what would you give for, like, men? Like, what would you tell them about, like, female puberty overview? Like, what would you recommend? Wait, I just said that opposite. Yeah. Like, what would you give to a girl about the male overview?
Yeah.
Right.
And I really think like a girl is anticipating a lot of changes in her body already. And so as she's learning puberty about herself, like there's a lot of processing going on there. I think the value of sharing what's happening to her male counterparts is helping her be aware, like they are going through changes as well. They're not going to be as visible. They're not going to be as, they're not going to seem like they carry as much weight, but they do.
Yeah.
You know, like they do for those boys at different times, right?
Yeah.
And so I would just say like your peers that are males, they'll probably start puberty, but it'll be a little bit after girls usually.
Yeah.
And their early changes include like testicle growth, penis growth, pubic hair.
Yeah.
And like all of that is preparing their body, is getting ready to make sperm, which helps fertilize an egg, and they are preparing to be creators just like you.
Just like you. Yeah, I love that. And it like that, I love that, like, because the message is kind of just like you. You know? That like, hey, all of you teenagers are going through this stage together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's a stage of change. And change can be a little discomforting.
Yeah.
Discomforting, you know?
Yeah.
And that's all changes like that.
Yeah. All
you
change
know?
can be a little awkward.
Like
unsure.
when we have a new baby into our family, you know, like that change, we like have to redo our patterns.
Adjust.
You know,
Yeah.
when we move, we have to redo our patterns.
Yeah.
Like your body is changing, and so there's going to be some shifts going on, and that's so stinking normal.
Yeah.
And like as a family, we're going to do our best to give you like the emotional space to have those shifts.
To have that experience, yeah.
You know,
I
and
that.
like this is our whole family's going through this. You know, with you. Yeah, I love that. I like that it's just this like, yeah, with you. You know, like these are and like I think for women that's the most important thing.
Totally.
Is with you. Less than use men to look for you. Obviously, they're first.
Right.
You know, but this like, hey, everyone's having.
They're going through their own experience as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we've hit kind of this overview conversation and this principle of like 2 steps and then the rest of the roadmap. We've talked about how like you have this initial conversation and the follow-up conversations look similar.
Yeah.
And you're relating them to their peers. You're helping them see like that what they're going through is an awesome process that helps them become like God.
Yeah.
We are going to come back and talk about like what do these conversations look like when we want to teach more in depth.
Yeah.
Some of the more weighty aspects of puberty, right?
Yeah.
Like whether that's menstruation or erections and ejaculation, like how are you going to teach those in the moment? How are you going to approach like managing body changes?
Yeah, I love that because it's really like it's not only normalizing at that point, it's also managing, you know? And like a kid isn't ready for managing an overview.
Right, absolutely.
Right. And so like even though like when I talk about it, it's natural to say like, yeah, some people wear bras, some people won't. Like you're trying to give like things to look for more than it's like this is how to manage.
Yeah.
You know? But when we come back, right, and we're in the moment and it's starting to happen with your daughter, right? Like you're going to then be teaching what is culturally normal, what you did, and like how
what are their options
for managing these body changes.
Yep.
Right. And that's what's coming next time.
Yep. Cool.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us for this discussion today. We hope it was valuable for you and your families. Our website, trueconnectionsrecovery.com, has a bunch of resources that you can access to get support from us.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways we're trying to help individuals, right? Whether it's through like individual recovery, like partner support, even like parental support, like how can I set my home up as a place for success?
Yep. We will be putting like technology management resources, other educational tools, or like workshops that might be up and coming in the area.
Just trying to provide ways for like families to feel supported, right? And so all of that you can find there on that website.
The more that this gets shared, and like as you talk about it with others that like the discussions kind of flow, and we can all grow in this area together.
Yeah, we really succeed as a community.
Yep.
Thank you.